I think it's always good when you're facing a team that went to the Super Bowl, where they were just that short of winning it. It's always a test to go up against a team like this, where they understand what it takes. They know the work that needs to be put in to make it there, and it definitely is a good opportunity to see where our team stands and where we're at with that. So, yeah, I would say yeah.
Jalen, your thoughts on Julio Jones? He was saying that he got to meet you at Alabama or something like that. Just what you think about him and everything.
Yeah, he's a guy that's coming in, and he's about his craft, and obviously knowing where he comes from and knowing kind of where our background resides. He has that mentality. He's a future Hall of Famer. I mean, he's as good as it gets, So he's coming in with a great mentality and a great person to add to this team.
How does he help both you and the offense?
We'll see.
In this video, we're featuring both quarterbacks who are playing each other this weekend as the Miami Dolphins travel to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. For the Dolphins, obviously Tua Tagovailoa, and for the Eagles, Jalen Hurts. Couple similarities. Both of them went to Alabama, and both of them wear number 1. As you saw in the preview clip, Jalen Hurts was quite tight-lipped about the role that Julio Jones will play in this weekend's game against the Dolphins. I guess we're going to have to wait and find out. Both quarterbacks drop a couple different nuggets you may want to take a listen to. Tua talks about how he thinks about Jalen Hurts and how strong Jalen Hurts is, and they ask him a question about the push. And then Jalen Hurts just seems to have this fire in his eyes, this steel look about him in terms of regarding this game. I don't know if he's got a chip on his shoulder or what. Both quarterbacks say they'll probably talk to each other after the game and get together. But let's see what happens this Sunday. In any event, take a listen to both of these quarterbacks.
Cooler than normal practices today, so that was good.
What was it like having, I know you're not on the same side of the field, but what was it like having Jaylen Ramsey back on there?
It was cool. Just his presence alone, his leadership out there. Got to go against him a little bit as he was on the other side while the offense was up. He did jump in on some reps. Just a great teammate, giving us some good looks. But for what he had, it's pretty remarkable. The competitor that he is, that he's put in a lot of time into trying to get back as soon as possible. And like I said, it's truly remarkable.
I know the past couple of weeks, we've talked to you a lot about kind of your control and mastery and really taking autonomy of the offense in a sense, by calling your own plays and calling your own shots. I was curious, can you kind of take us a little bit behind the scenes of like the week of preparation, like when I think you get the game plan on Tuesday, and what's the communication like with Mike and really letting him know what you like and what you feel comfortable with?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with feeling comfortable for one, and then knowing the guys that are running certain routes for two. Do we like this guy running this route versus press? Do we like this guy off? Do we want to motion him? Do we want to do things like that? And a lot of the times it's more so Mike's on that already. Just some of them, they're like, hey, like I would just, say, hey, would you want to do this or would you want to do that? And, he'd either be like, yeah, or no, like just trust me on this one. So there's a lot of communication in that sense. And then just throughout the week, communicating with the guys what we're looking for in this defense, sort of the spots in which the routes happen, where we're trying to hit. So things like that, that's all we talk about.
Are there throws that you can make now that maybe, rookie year coming off the hip, and certainly you've gotten stronger too. Are there throws that you're making now that you haven't been able to make before?
I would say a lot of the routes that we have this year, I've never had my rookie year or my second year. And then just playing like within the timing of the each play, it's all different. The maturity of who I was then to who I am now as a football player has changed a lot too. So I would probably say no, but then at the same time I wouldn't know.
I wanted to ask you about, you've always said that you throw spots as opposed to receivers, and that's just something that you've always done. Does that help you when you're looking off guys?
Yeah, it does help me when I'm looking off guys. In practice, I mean, sometimes it's not just looking off guys, it's just looking here, knowing that this guy is going to be over here, so then I look in over there and I throw it over there, or looking over here to move this guy and I throw it over there in the next window. But a lot of the times with looking people off, it's more so knowing the spots on the field where guys should be, and that's what allows us to play the way we play, I think, is talking through those and guys being in the right spots at the right time, and then knowing when to hold safeties, and when it's just you just got to work through your progression when it's not useful at that time.
Tua, some people look at Sunday's game as a potential Super Bowl preview. How do you view it? And with a week like this, do you stay in touch with Jalen Hurts, or do you guys prefer to stay out of each other's way?
Yeah, I think in competition mode, it's one of those things where I know where he's at, with his play. He knows where I'm at with my play. We'll probably see each other before the game to wish each other luck, but at the end of the day, we're both trying to help our teams win. And I know that he's doing all that he can to help his offense be successful against our defense. And, I'm doing the exact same, trying to work hard to do the exact same to their defense. But, yeah, I got a lot of respect for Jalen. He's been a great competitor since I've got there to Alabama. He's been a special player since I've been there, and he's been a special player throughout his entire college career. So I know it'll be a good game, and I don't think of it as a Super Bowl preview or anything like that. I just think that this is another team that we're preparing for, and in order for us to get to where we want to go to, we got to play this team.
What do you think of the way your two careers have taken off in the NFL after competing together at Alabama?
Yeah, I mean, there's different ways to skin the cat, right? Many different ways. He went down a different road than I did to get to where I'm at, and he had to go down a different road to get to where he's at. But like I said, I got a lot of respect for him, who he is as a person, who he is as a player, and wish him the best of luck as we play him.
When you put the Eagles defense on tape, what are a couple things that stand out to you?
I mean, their front seven's tough. Really good front seven. And then, with their back end a little banged up, when they do have all their guys, they're a really, really good team. Lot of communication on that back end, and they play really, really good and really sound defense.
Does that feel like an SEC defense to you?
Every NFL team feels like an SEC defense. They all feel like an SEC defense. But, yeah, I would assume that is more of an SEC defense. They got a lot more SEC players on their team, I would say.
To throwing it, way back to 2017, what do you remember about that postseason run up to the national title game, the Sugar Bowl, the championship game?
Man, I don't remember much. I don't remember much of it. I just remember being able to come into the national championship game and play. And I just had an opportunity, to go out there and help our team win. But really, that's all that I can remember. Is Ann's Georgia Bulldogs that we got to play against and beat. But other than that, that's all I remember.
You guys obviously don't need any extra motivation, clearly, but I'm curious when you see, Jaylen Ramsey, most people would be out until December or whatever, just the commitment he had to get back and then actually do it, and what he adds off the field as far as just his positivity and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, Jaylen Ramsey's leadership, who he is, just him being out there, his persona. Guys respect him for the things that he's done in the league already. And then also you got to respect the way he works day in and day out, as we've started the season, as we've went through training camp, just seeing him working by himself, doing things that allow him to get back on the field as soon as possible. That's how guys have portrayed it. He's earned a lot of respect from the guys in the locker room.
I know the idea of statement games is probably more on our end than it is on yours. These sort of matchups, they get a lot of attention. Do you guys need this kind of test internally, though, as a litmus test to kind of see where you are as your championship timber and all that?
I think it's always good when you're facing a team that went to the Super Bowl, where they were just that short of winning it. It's always a test to go up against a team like this, where they understand what it takes. They know the work that needs to be put in to make it there, and it definitely is a good opportunity to see where our team stands and where we're at with that. So, yeah, I would say yeah.
Tua, they've had a lot of success with the quarterback sneaks. From your vantage point, I guess, looking at those plays, is it something that Jalen's doing specifically, or maybe the O-line? How do you think that's become as successful as it has for them?
Honestly, I have no idea. That is crazy what they do. I mean, you got to give props where props are due, and that is remarkable how successful they are in doing that. But in a way, it's also no surprise with Jalen being in the back there, with how strong he is. I mean, I've been his lifting partner when I got there to Alabama, and oh my goodness. I mean, let me tell you, he could probably squat with our linemen, or maybe just a little more. Like, this guy can squat. This guy can squat. He's strong, so it doesn't surprise me with the quarterback sneaks. And that's not to diss any of our linemen. That's just to say, like, I've seen this dude put up a lot of weight, and he has lifted with some of our linemen in Alabama, so he's strong.
What was it like, and this has nothing to do with the NFL, but just curiosity, like, what was it like for you when you get to Alabama, coming from Hawaii? You get to Alabama and you start to see, maybe for the first time, guys who are like, wow, this guy's going to the league, or like, wow, this is a different caliber of athlete.
Yeah, I think when I got there, it was like, okay, I don't want to mess up what we have here, so I'm going to try to find where I fit. But then it's also one of those things where, like, if you weren't strong mentally, you either had to be, like, find out you had to be, or figure it out, or you just you wouldn't have made it there. There was just like an aura around there that was just like, you didn't really speak of what the standard was, but when you got there, you knew what that was, and you knew you couldn't do anything like to bring that down, and the guys wouldn't allow you to do that. So yeah, when I got there, I thought I seen some big people in my life. Like, these guys, they all look like they're on steroids when I got there.
But they weren't.
It's crazy. Oh my gosh. But they weren't. But they weren't. Just say. They weren't. We weren't. Yeah, we weren't. Thanks, guys.
Jaylen, you and Tua seem to have a supportive relationship with one another at Alabama. How has that relationship continued since you guys got to the pros?
Yeah, it's been great to see the things he's been able to do over his career, and hopefully hoping for continued success.
What does this one mean to you? Is there any extra juice or motivation?
We're gonna go out there and just try and play our best game.
Jalen, your thoughts on Julio Jones? He was saying that he got to meet you at Alabama or something like that. Just what you think about him and everything.
Yeah, he's a guy that's coming in, and he's about his craft, and obviously knowing where he comes from and knowing kind of where our background resides. He has that mentality. He's a future Hall of Famer. I mean, he's as good as it gets, So he's coming in with a great mentality, and a great person to add to this team.
How does he help both you and the offense?
We'll see.
John, you talked before about the team-wide flushing losses, etc. What's the process for you when maybe you don't play up to your standard? How long does it take you to kind of forget the game and then move on?
It's a matter of staying true to the process and just continue to press forward.
Jalen, you're going against a defense that you guys are familiar. Vic was helping you guys leading up to the Super Bowl. Is there any sort of things you have to be on guard for because he knows you guys a little bit better, you know him a little bit better?
It's just a matter of execution. In the end, just going out there and executing our offense and playing clean football.
Jalen, when you became the starter, you really kind of injected the praise Brent is due, to your teammates in the locker room. I guess the origin of that praise, what do you enjoy about that in terms of how that gives you motivation, and have you noticed like how it's kind of caught on with a lot of people?
Yeah, I think just having the mentality of giving your best truly every day, knowing that every day is earned, not given.
John, is there any insight you can, after watching the tape, like, what did you learn from watching this past week's game?
You turn the ball over 4 times. You shouldn't expect to win. So plan on doing a better job of that as a team.
What way, Jalen, did your experiences at Alabama kind of help shape your mental makeup and build you more for adversarial moments?
Yeah, it's a compound. It's a compound effect of not just those times at Alabama, but my whole career this far, of a number of different experiences, and so there's always an opportunity to learn from that. And I think I've, just grown in wisdom and just kind of grown as a person throughout my whole entire career.
Do you find yourself, kind of leaning on those experiences or thinking back to those experiences when you deal with adverse situations nowadays?
Again, I say throughout my whole career, it's built upon different experiences, and experience is the biggest teacher. So whether it was experience last week, 2 weeks ago, or 2 years ago, or whatever it was, it's just always learning and growing to be a better player in person.
Jalen, how special was it for you to exchange jerseys with Randall?
It was a special moment. It was a special moment. He's always been an icon for the position and the way he played the game, and how I play the game, and just to feel support, to be able to share some conversations with him, share some memories and moments. It's something that'll last a lifetime for me. So I always get a text message from him weekly, just checking in, and it's very cool to have that relationship with him.
Both Jonathan Gannon and Sean Desai are kind of Vic Fangio disciples. How much of an advantage is it to you having played against that defense the last 3 years?
Everybody has their different wrinkles on it. So, regardless of who we're playing, whoever it is, we just have to execute. I don't think it's, about anything other than that, us doing our jobs and executing at a high level.
What are your thoughts on this Miami team?
They're a really good football team. Obviously, they've been able to do some really good things on all 3 phases of their team, and so it's a great challenge for us going into this game. And I think the thing for us is just going out there and executing, playing good and clean football, and doing our jobs.
What conversations have you had with Lane this week, and what's the process like preparing, knowing he could be in or he could not be in?
He's a tough person, a tough guy, and he's going to do what he feels is best, and we're going to support him in that.
What about your conversations with Devontae, who had a couple of drops? Kenny had one, Dallas had the one. How do you go about holding those guys also accountable, but also kind of working forward over these next several weeks to kind of fix those things?
Yeah, there's certain moments to do so and certain moments not to. Those guys are great players, and they know they made mistakes. I know I made a mistake. We all know we make mistakes, but it's about how you respond to it, and we have the confidence in one another to respond. I feel like they've spoken for themselves on that, so there's no need for me to comment on it.
You made mention of the Kelly green jerseys a few years ago, too. Now that you're going to be playing in them, what's your opinion of them? What's your reaction to it?
Really nice jersey, really nice jersey. So we'll have them on this week.
Take a few more.
Do you kind of get a sense just like how much those jerseys mean to the fans and people here?
I do. You know, it's kind of the original color and brings back a lot of memories for a lot of people. And so it'll be fun to enjoy that moment and, you know, go out there and play the game and hopefully get a win.
Any plans to communicate with Tua this week, Jim?
Game week. You know, I'm sure we'll catch up on Sunday after the game.
Now, that wasn't my editing. That was how the Philadelphia Eagles ended Jalen Hurts' press conference. They cut it off just like that. That wasn't me. But I wanted to make sure I got that out to you guys so you can take a look at it and just let me know what you think about the way both of these quarterbacks handled themselves in these press conferences. Talk to you soon. Can't wait for this weekend.